When you finally create the atom bomb after years of work, but then you realize what it means for humanity. Wait a second, I have become death, destroyer of worlds? I've been seeing a lot of Oppenheimer slander just out of nowhere recently. Where is that even coming from? I mean, they do have an interesting point though. I mean, he worked on building a nuke for years, and then once he did, he's like, what have I done? Exotic animals in the Middle Ages when they end up in a European royal zoo and their keepers have no freaking idea what their appropriate habitat or diet is. The Middle Ages were pretty dark times for every species, whether human or animal. I guess King James might have only been giving his elephant in London a gallon of wine a day. Is that even enough wine to affect an elephant? Russia, after Ukraine, gave them all their nukes. They're super duper best friends now. Hee hee. I'm sure this will totally not backfire 2 to 3 decades later. The Mongols in Eurasia versus the Mongols in Japan. Oh, they're cute. I just want to know how long we're going to continue to be surprised that water is not necessarily what the Mongolians are best known for. I mean, they are kind of just a bunch of scary horse girls. Obviously, horse girls. Like, they don't know about boats. I realized that if it wasn't for 2 very convenient typhoons that wiped out their navy, they probably would have been fine. European explorers, when they see an exotic breed of animal, let's see how it reacts to a little bit of lead. I just want to know what happens when I fire this machine gun at it. World War I generals when they occupy 2 feet of ground in no man's land at the expense of thousands of dead soldiers. Nobody worshipped that jar of dirt more than them. And you know, they were thinking it was totally worth it. They didn't care about any of those soldiers. MFers in the 1700s using all their hard-earned money to purchase a single pineapple, giving up their entire life savings all to probably just put it on a pizza too. But man, they love these things so much they were doing weird paintings with them. Having several cities named after you, is that Bismarck? Having a country named after you, yes, Simon Bolivar. Having an entire historical era named after you, Queen Victoria. And then there's having the title for King/Emperor named after you for the next 2,000 years. That would seem like the ultimate flex, if only people knew in the past how big his name would actually get. Getting a whole pizza chain is way more glorious. When you're a 14-year-old street urchin in 19th century England and you just got a job crawling into textile machines to fix snags for $1 a week, kind of a mandatory requirement that you lose at least 1 finger or limb. That's how you know you're gonna be good at this job. You have the experience of what not to do. Priest says, the young shepherd David slew Goliath with a sling and stone. Michelangelo, so this David guy, he's like super jacked, right? You know, like super tall and handsome and really hot. And naked too, right? Finally, we really needed more art history memes. Always thought that Squidward was the greatest artist that ever lived. Picture of J. Robert Oppenheimer taken as he completed the final design of the atomic bomb. Took him several years, but he finally got the right creation and the right resources. And he did it all without Googling it. He just had to figure it out somewhere in his inventory. Tell me about the Chinese Civil War. Which one? The one where millions of people died. Do you have the slightest idea how little that narrows it down? Yeah, you pretty much have just narrowed it down to the entirety of all of Chinese history. It's kind of more difficult for me to name a time where they weren't doing this. Your average WW2 German soldier, after spending weeks in armed combat on a diet of crystal, let's just say Walter White had a lot of people to sell to in Germany at this time. Crazy that they were just supplying their entire military with this. Oh yeah, it's good for your soul. Praetorian Guard, Caesar, the Gauls have returned our ambassador. Send him in so I might hear their reply. If it's a severed head, I'm going to be very upset. You gotta be very clear with these guards that you need to keep them fully intact, regardless of what type of guards they actually were. Sir, there's a buildup of German tanks near the Ardennes. Meanwhile, the Baguette High Command. Oh, is this supposed to reference that Belgium wasn't doing much? Or was Belgium just preparing to be the speed bump of Europe for the second time? Or wait, no, a lot of the Europeans just thought this force was too hard to get through with tanks, and they were going to be insanely wrong. I should conquer the entire freaking Persian Empire and then not change a single way they ruled it. I wonder who this genius could have been. To be fair, I think his #1 goal was just to name as many cities after himself. He didn't care about anything else. I mean, honestly, who cares about anything else anyways? Japan, we will never surrender. You will not invade us. Meanwhile, the USA, with a little bit of molecular science for us, just yeah. Things going on. And if that was too quick for you, don't worry, because they're gonna do it twice. Just realize how ironic it is that this is the motto they go by. Babe, please, you're Chinese. The Lost Legion is a myth. The Eternal City calls to me. Now that's epic. I guess this Chinese village claims to be descendants of the Romans. I didn't even know about that. Even though Chinese authorities, modern genetic studies, and archaeologists have all debunked this theory, they still believe. Never lose hope. Who even cares how deep into China you actually are? Explorers during the Renaissance, when the map said there would be a gigantic sea monster, but instead, there's a whole new continent. How lame. Imagine sailing to the corners of the known world, expecting expecting to see a beautiful, terrifying monster in the ocean, but in reality, you've just found yourself the continent of Australia. I guess good news is, if you were trying to find something that looked like this, it would be in that landmass, though. Hilter when someone asks him why he ditched the light tanks that brought the German army victory in the early war for monsters like the tigers and moss. My body just craved. Oh, why are you putting this in my head? The Doles brothers explaining how the US needs to overthrow functional democracy in Guatemala to stop communism. Definitely not because the banana company they have shares in might lose value. Ah, I see what you did there. Herodotus? Man, I have no idea how much I'm mispronouncing these videos. When he realized no one would ever ask him to cite his sources or question his work for thousands of years. Now reality can be whatever I want. Who cares about making things accurate? Just make it sound cool. 17 million Persians definitely sounds a lot better. Greek gods, just buff dudes working out. Meanwhile, the Egyptian gods laying in the sand with, yeah, usually some sort of animal head on them. Choose your mythology. Man, I don't even know. Choices. What is Ra's origin story? Oh, an island emerged from the water to support this divinity who manifested itself in the form of Ra, the sun. Oh, okay, so that meme actually was really accurate. You know how there's those YouTube channels that pits like anime characters versus superheroes and all that? Like, I want to see them do battle simulations, but with like mythological gods. How OP would Ra actually be? Could he defeat Zeus? Oh yeah, and why not throw the Norse god Odin for good measure? German child with a Panzerfaust and 3 grenades in April 1945. I didn't hear no bell. Yeah, they were just built differently out there. Well, I don't know about necessarily built differently. I think they were just kind of forced into it. The amount of ladies that can fit in my Vickers Armstrong Universal Carrier Mark I. Now that looks like a party. It's a lot more than I expected for this thing. Would you rather have $30 million or 30 million loyal friends? The frick am I gonna do with 30 million friends? Oh, don't give the Romans any ideas, because they could do quite a lot. Having 30 million loyal friends is more than the entire population of North Korea. I'm just saying, you can create your own hermit kingdom and everyone worships you there. All you gotta do is make sure every one of them donates to you $1. At least $1. You know, if they're loyal, they're gonna give you like 20 bucks. The Japanese struggling to get supplies everywhere. Meanwhile, the American Navy with an ice cream barrage. Oh, forgive me. There is someone here who can't handle even this much. Yeah, like, way to just kind of rub it in their face. Like how Germany was giving their soldiers crystal blue persuasion to fuel the war. If only they knew ice cream would be much more powerful. Ladies of the night in 1880s London when they take a wrong turn in Whitechapel. Yeah, Jack the Ripper would like to have a word with you. And by word, I mean, well, you get the picture. German tank divisions before accomplishing in 6 weeks what the Second Reich couldn't do in 4 years. This is where the fun begins. Interesting merge of World War II and prequel memes. I miss when we did that more often. Benjamin Franklin, turkeys are a much more respectable bird and a true original native of America, and should be the national symbol. Yeah, the Continental Congress weren't really big fans of that, neither were the bald eagles. And then how awkward would that be when this country pops up 150 years later after the Ottomans fall? Alexander on his way to name every freaking city after himself. Yeah, we talked about this. Talk about most based reason to take over the entire world. Sweden be like, why didn't you tell us about the nuclear disaster at Chernobyl? Gorbachev, who'd been kept in the dark by his yes men. The what? Oh, also I like the edit that this meme did. That is definitely Gorbachev, isn't it? Kind of hilarious that they tried to keep this whole massive disasters themselves for a little bit. So, are you like a no-no German or something? What fascist flag is that? Oh yeah. And the problem is, this is definitely being said. I've seen it firsthand happen before. It's painful. The Royal Australian Artillery in 1932 when they see a tall floofy bird. I really wish they showed the next few frames of this gif as like all the birds just stand in the shadows as the smoke dissipates. Not even this is powerful enough to take them out. Learn actual seamanship so you can ram and sink Carthaginian ships at sea? I don't think so. Invent a swivel bridge thingy so you can trap their ships in place and have Marines slaughter the entire crew. That sounds a lot more fun. I agree with that. Who wouldn't want to do that? Friend, how was the croissant invented? Me? In the 17th century, the Ottoman Empire invaded Western Europe. What does it have to do with French pastries? We get there when we get there. I love these memes because you can't ever explain anything from history unless you start all the way back from the Big Bang. Women with the time machine. I'm your granddaughter. Really? Men with the time machine. If you see a German soldier with a silly mustache, shoot him. Oh, is this part of WW1? Yeah, I've heard this story. We need that time machine. U.S. Navy at Midway. No carriers? Yeah, dive bombers go burr. Soviet astronauts trying to explain that handguns on the ISS are meant for bears in Siberia. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Wait, what was going on with that? Can't believe the US wasn't the first one to go to space with these things. Spanish, Belgian, Portuguese, Japanese, French, Mongolian people watching Britain get roasted for having an empire while they were equally worse empires. Their vision is based off movement. If you just stay incredibly still, everything's gonna be okay. What does equally worse mean though? King Henry VIII, I want my marriage to be annulled. Pope, No. Yeah, well, I'm gonna create my own church with blackjack, and yeah, I already know that other line. Just gonna kind of do his own thing. Played by his own rules. The Japanese Navy after the Battle of Midway. In terms of operational fleet carriers, we have no operational fleet carriers. Seems like that might be kind of a problem, don't you think? And big thanks to the patrons. My name's Joe Biden. I love being Joe Biden. Diary of a Wimpy Kid, the Catfish. Drew's Argentinian grandpa.
Fatnuts.
aPhatNarwhal.
Barnsky W.
bringbackpolandball.
LuxembourgLover.
Cowboys 83.
Jakov Bruney.
Marco Hindera.
Max Cooper.
ortin
Philipp
5610.
RF.
Robert E.
RyeThePie.
The Mexican 760.
Why am I doing this?
William the Conqueror. And Subar A.N.